Again, Black Ring Ritual wraps up your Thursday. Right after me, Stinky Art. Right before me, Side Stage with Trav. And now it's Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday. It's a beautiful day here in Fargo. Thank you for joining me. This segment of programming on KRFF 95.9 LPFM has been underwritten by Memory Fireworks. Boom, boom, bang. Memory's locally owned and operated and have been serving the region for over 40 years. Home of the Dakota and Memory Series checkout favorites like the Fargo or the new Dakota Unicorn. With four Fargo Moorhead locations, you can shop now and pick up beginning June 27th. They're open Monday through Sundays, 10 a.m. to 6. Find them online at memoryfireworks.com. This 4th of July, light up the sky with Memory Fireworks. I talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis, and the local push for cannabis legalization in the state of North Dakota is something definitely I'm going to cover. NewApproachNorthDakota.org. Go there. You can find out where you can sign. However, it's becoming less of an issue because July 11th is deadline, and we is the collective we for people who are trying to get this on the ballot. We've got the signatures. The signatures are pretty much done. We just need the secretary, whatever his name is. It's still Yeager. I don't know. But we need the Secretary of State to validate the signatures, but there was a rigorous pre-screen process, so I'm pretty confident, and everybody's confident. You can just assume that it's going to be on the ballot. Now, the campaigning and the jazzing up, we need all the hype men we possibly can to get this thing passed. The 3 plants is exciting. It's a major sell because, again, if you're like me, I respond best to low THC, high CBD kind of plants. I'm going to be able to grow those specifically for me. In particular, when this passes, I've got a beautiful room just ready to rock. And I would imagine other people has rooms that are ready to rock as well. They're just waiting for it to happen. And again, they say like PTSD people really respond well to the White Widow. Now you can grow that if you'd like. You're like, well, why don't you just you get your medical card? Well, it's expensive. This way, like I said, medical should have always had a home grow amendment to it. It should have always been allowed. But we in North Dakota, so after, that should be all you need to know. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here 4 o'clock, 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and I can assure you that's going to happen. We're in a low cannabis news week. I couldn't believe it. Now I was thinking, well, why would I even come if there isn't a lot to talk about? Well, I'll make sure to fill this hour. And again, this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, blackcottagealchemy.com. Black Cottage Alchemy products, the body butter, which is the business, colloidal silver all day long. She does candles and soaps that are also, friendly to the environment and to your body and to your animals. Tochi products. Get downtown here. Get inside there and pick you up some of this body butter. It's good for neuropathy, hydration of the face, foot fungus, which I'm currently attacking, maybe. I don't know. It's none of your business. How come you asked? Made with kosher full spectrum CBD, 1,600 mgs of the CBD, mango butter, bunch of butter. We got Ying Lang in there, which having ADD is a problem because I tell myself, listen, after this show, stinking Google that Ying Lang and find out the benefits of it. Find out even what it is. And then I always forget till I'm sitting right now here going, I'm going to Google that once I get off this show. I mean, will I? I don't know. But again, thank you for joining me. It's a beautiful day. If you need to sign the signature gathering petition for cannabis legalization, Orange Records, Tochi products, and I can give you a few more options here. If you're in Bizman, Puffin Stuff, Mandan, Ignite Dispenso in Biz, Knock Oots, Bismarck, Fargo, we got Orange Records, I just said it. Tochi, of course. E-Sig, This Skate, 46 and 2, Thunder Coffee Mothers, Grand Forks, Discontented, Hojata Records, why not? Budget Music, Cloud D, Pipe D, The Ranger, NOLA, On the Rocks, Lucky Smoke, and The Landing Bar. And don't forget the Pekin Lodge, 226 Ann Avenue, has got the petition. Again, up to an ounce you can have. And the biggest takeaway is the 3 plants that you can grow. I'm super stoked about that. And again, I mean, to be able to grow what you want, what you need, and to bypass the man, or just, like I said, like people always say, you don't have to get permission to grow carrots. Maybe you like carrots all the time. Maybe you like those freaky purple carrots or the white carrots. well, you can do what you want to do. So I believe cannabis was made by God himself, the amazing God that I worship every Sunday at Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue. 10 a.m. we do a Bible study, and then 11 a.m. we get down. I'm on the skins, so if you want to watch me flail, if you want to watch me use worship and drumming as my new fidget spinner, come on down, check us out. Again, I believe cannabis was made for us to use as we see fit, and thank God it exists. I would have to probably be on regular medication. You know what I'm saying? I'd probably have to go to a doctor. But I choose the highest physician, God himself. And people say, well, you're crazy. I don't know. I'm pretty healthy. So there you go. But anyway, thank you for joining me, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're going to talk about cannabis legalization at 420. Again, I might have to embellish a little bit, but make sure you know the new approach North Dakota has their signatures. They're good. They're done. I mean, they're still out pushing. You can still sign just for that buffer. But again, with the pre-screen process, and they were very rigorous about how and what they, allowed you to sign regarding legibility and, using pink ink, that sort of thing. So you can expect that it'll be on the ballot in November, and I'm super excited about that. And I hope everybody else is super excited about it because it's super cool. Again, I'm Wilson, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, every Thursday. It's kind of a slow kind of week. I mean, there are things going on, and we're certainly going to talk about it. But right now, let's play a little music, huh? Here's Herman Dune, Mookie Mookie, on 95.9. Mookie Mookie, Herman Dune. That's how you get it started here on Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 KRFF, the best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. It's Wilson, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, I scurry up in here via osmosis or the window, sometimes the door. Depends on, how I'm feeling. But I get in here to give you the news regarding cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis, just the states and their movements, and, that sort of thing. There isn't a whole lot going on this week. I'm not going to make stuff up. I'm going to be honest with you. I might go on a tangent just to eat up some seconds, you feel me? But otherwise, programming on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo, KRFF-LP, has been underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments. I know that's probably a surprise. Hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5, or Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check Drummer's Journey, alloneword.com. They have a profile on Facebook. Well, good for them. Every time I see that, I smile. Drummer's Journey, they have a profile on Facebook. So there, take that. If you're looking for a store that has accessories and they have a profile on Facebook, Drummer's Journey has it for you. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Right after me, Stinky Arts Music Mart. Then we got some open spots that Fred, spelled with a P, is going to take us through. And then we have Black Ring Ritual at nighttime. But at 420, we going to get it. And I just want to say, New Approach North Dakota, again, has got the signatures they need. You can assume and expect that it's going to be on the ballot in November. 3 plants up to an ounce. It's really stinking exciting. I'm going to get into this next music here. We got the Magic Beans. Here on out, 7 minutes gets us to that 420. Beautiful hour. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Here we go. Well, yeehaw, here on out, the Magic Beans. That's what you just listened to, and it makes sense. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here. 420, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's on deck here, folks. I kid you not. For the first time ever, I'm actually kind of done with the musical segment before 420, which is pretty unusual. So again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what you're listening to. And we're going to kick out the intro. Here's that. So if you got a medical card, scurry to the freezer, get you some of those square frozen things, stick it in that long glass cylinder deal, get you some sort of combustible creator, aka lighter, and put it to work. And we'll talk about cannabis, the plant we all know and love, after this on Radio Free Fargo, 95.9er.
Hey, it's Phil from Canna-Heads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Oh, and that's how you do it, folks. How are you? How's each and every one of you doing? Everybody doing good? Good. Well, we're going to talk about cannabis legalization. The benefits of cannabis. We've got a variety of topics that we're going to talk about. Don't let me forget to talk about Thailand, which I just realized has the word high in it. Now, as a Christian, I kind of just veer away from the whole high thing. I kind of like to say medicate it, you know? I mean, and I don't even know that I don't even know, you know? I mean, cannabis and being high compared to all the other highs, especially something that balances your homeostasis and does so many positive things in your body, that gives you kind of a decent feeling. You know, like I feel relief. I don't ever feel high. I feel like, I feel kind of normal. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about now, but New Approach North Dakota is out there getting the signatures, and they got them. We're good. It's going to be on the ballot. Again, if there's some weird fluke, come find me. Come here Thursdays, 4 o'clock. Beat me up for lying. But I can assure you it's going to be on the ballot. So just take my word for it. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Listen to Wilson. Wilson's telling you. I know that the signatures have been gathered. I know the I can't say that word, but the authentication process was a lot more severe. So the signatures are pretty much guaranteed to be good before they even get the Jaeger. So, and we're well over the amount that we need. So it's going to be on the ballot. So now get yourself a sign. Get to newapproachnorthdakota.org. They're going to have signs you can put up in your yard. I'm going to try to get one in my window. And so that's the next thing. So tell everybody to vote yes. And I don't know what measure it's going to be yet, vote on number 3 or, vote on 2. But anyway, it's exciting. We're going to be able to finally vote on a cannabis legalization measure on the ballot finally this year in November. And it's a good one. It's got the grow option. And again, medically should have always had that tagged on there. But we live in a stupid state that has no problems taxing you to kill yourself with vodka. And I mean, the stats for death when it comes to stupid rot gut vodka in North Dakota, or in them low poverty, kind of impoverished areas that would do well to have cannabis as a benefit, to either grow for profit or just as a replacement to stupid vodka. Because again, I mean, vodka, you might use that bottle to smack it over your loved one. A empty baggie, you may put a sandwich in it and send your loved one to work with hey, I made you a sandwich and I put it in this baggie that's empty. And I didn't want to, throw it into a burn pile, into trash, because I knew it wouldn't decompose. So I thought I'd recycle it again and make my honey bun a sandwich and put it in the baggie. Now that's how cannabis people think. Vodka people don't think after a while. And when they do, it's only about themselves. Can I get an amen? Anyway, cannabis moment. Let's talk about California. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about California, but they've been raping the snot out of people's money when it comes to taxes. I mean, and so basically what happens is a guy just makes it and says, guess what? I'm not going to tax you. You're like, you're not? Well, I probably ain't anywhere near as good as the dispensary. Well, au contraire, I got a little granddaddy perp here. I got a little greasy runts. Fresh. Look at the trichomes. No taxes. So you're like, well, why in the world would I fight traffic to get down into LA and spend 50% in taxes and not take anything home with me? It's just an expenditure. To what? To be legal? I mean, again, I mean, we let men tell us what to do. I mean, we're men. You know, there were men that got us here without the overreach of government. And I'm not saying we don't need governing, but maybe I am. But anyway, cannabis legalization in North Dakota has gotten a whole lot closer to happening. And again, the medical program doesn't include home grow, and this would, and it just is going to be great. So now California cannabis tax relief. It heads to the governor's desk, so you know he'll sign it. But basically, it's an amended budget proposal. It passed both chambers with nearly unanimous support. So they're going to shift the point of collection and remittance for the separate 15%. So they're going to drop. Okay, so they're eliminating the cannabis cultivation tax in an effort to provide industry relief, and further curtail the illicit market, which basically California got greedy. They're like, oh, they just keep making you pay extra taxes. Then you go, you know what? I'm going to buy it from Bob down the street. And all of a sudden they're like, whoa, we've got to curtail the illicit market. Well, you created the illicit market by being greedy. You know, and cannabis has never been a capitalist pig market. It's always been a sharing is caring vibe. You know, I mean, and as a longtime addict, and even alcoholics can attest to this, their last few beers ain't sharing that stuff. Get your own beer, buddy. Cannabis, not the same thing. I got a little extra. You ain't got none. Come on by. Let's feel better together. Not high. Let's feel better together. You know what I'm saying? So cannabis has always got kind of a bad rap, and especially now that I've embedded myself into this Christian lifestyle, specifically Pentecostal, which are the freaks of the whole religious sect, I guess. I mean, back when I was a kid, it was considered a cult. But then I got older, and ICP and St. Clown Posse became a gang. So it held less water because everybody knows ICP ain't gangsters. They may be gangsters of pop, and by pop I mean soda. But you know what I mean? I mean, and do they even have hand signals? Maybe they do the hatchet. It's hard to say, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But California is finally getting their act together, and so Nicole, she says, big shout out to the businesses, labor groups, and other stakeholders in doing the hard work to make big reform possible. So social equity cannabis businesses would be eligible for a $10,000 tax credit. They'll be able to keep 20% of the excise tax revenue for the purpose of reinvesting in their business. So advocates are also pleased that 3 years of excise tax relief would be provided under the bill. It's a significant expansion from the 18-month window that the governor proposed in his updated budget. So everybody knows that cannabis taxes was just stupid in California. Now, Illinois isn't far behind, but I was watching this guy on YouTube, and he says, true, that California and Illinois do have comparable price gouging when it comes to taxes, but Illinois has the least quality of product, and they don't have as much offerings. They're going to say, here's your concentrate, here's your gram, it'll cost you maybe $40, but we're going to tack on another 80, it's $165. See what I'm saying? That didn't make sense to me either. But the quality ain't as great. Whereas California, it's more established. There's other things you may go, well, this is once in a lifetime thing. I'll pay $80 for this doot that I don't normally get. Whereas Illinois, it's just your standard fare. You could get it anywhere, except here they see you coming and they hit a rubber stampy and go, yeah, that was $50 with your buddy Tim, but here it's $3.50. Well, crying out loud, when does the illicit market just make sense? You know what I mean? Because we all know that the bottom line when it comes to owners of any business is to make profit. And over the years, they have made profit by really sucking and really being selfish to where their product doesn't even reflect the quality. It just reflects selfish and greediness. And we see that with everything, with the, the cheap products out of you-know-where, instead of creating good quality products here? Like, if I showed you an Amazon blender that came from you know where today, and we put it up against a J.C. Penney's 1963 blender, first of all, that 1963 blender could also power a lawnmower while it was chopping up lemons, but it's still good. That thing is still a bomb piece of machinery. Meanwhile, I sneezed on the one from Amazon, and it cracked down the... They said it was glass. The blender part was glass, but it isn't. It's fake glass. They called it Glastic. Just kidding. But you see what I mean? All of that's gone downhill. Everything's costed more. The quality's gone down. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've noticed it. Don't get me started about the Dollar Tree. Okay? Now, Indiana, they're going to explore cannabis decrim and Delta-8 regulations this summer. Indiana, I mean, I used to say South Dakota was the last place you wanted to get pulled over in, and I've been pulled over there. I've been in Indiana on meth and smelled meth with my window down, driving to wherever it was I was going to set up my reenactment stuff. So Indiana, gnarly. But they're going to discuss potential regulations for THC products. Whether those deliberations will result in forward momentum is still undetermined, as legislation often fails to materialize, and especially in Indiana. So lawmakers say that decrim is on the table. Total decrim is on the table for debate. Apparently you can get Delta-8 there. And that reminds me, I was walking by a store downtown, and I looked in, and I thought, well, I wonder if anybody's in here, right? So I'm looking to see if there's anybody in there. I see a person sitting there behind the register, and because I look there, because I was wondering, like, is anybody, because I don't know if it was later in the evening or what. And I noticed a signage that said Delta-9 sold here. Now, we all know Delta-9 is the bad, demonized, horrible Delta of all the Deltas. That's what we're fighting for, is the Delta-9. Meanwhile, you got the Delta-8s, the Delta-10s, the Delta-11s, you got the HHCs, you got the THCOs, you got the THCAs, you've got, crying out loud, you've got the CBNs, you got the CBGs. I mean, it's like, well, okay, not Delta-9, but what about all these 60,425 Deltas that we've been messing with while you've been playing around with the legality concerns of Delta-9? But anyway, so I'm wondering, I'm like, well, how can you buy Delta-9? I didn't go in, and I kind of like threw it back into my head. And I do want to say that you're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson on Radio Free Fargo, KRFF 95.9. Every Thursday, I scurry in here to give you guys this week in cannabis news, and that's what I'm doing right now. So welcome. And now I'm talking about Indiana, thinking about decrimming some stuff because Indiana sucks. Indiana sucks. Unless you're from Indiana and you're cute, then, you know, Indiana doesn't suck. But that's neither here nor there. I was reading something, and I realized, and I read that Delta-9 can be extracted from the hemp plant. And that's what they're marketing. The hemp-derived Delta-9. Huh. So I don't know how much and what the percentage is, but you can go downtown, and I'm sure you can go other places, and get Delta-9 hemp-derived, which is new. I never heard of it before, but I seen the sign, so I know it exists, and I filed it back into my ADD head, and it seemed to stick. And so when I read something that said Delta-9 hemp-derived, I thought, oh, I seen that being advertised in a store on Broadway. Just a thing. So let's keep cruising. Indiana, let's see what happens to them. This is Cannabis Moment. This is Justice Department response on medical cannabis patients' gun rights lawsuit delayed due to SCOTUS ruling. So in light of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on gun rights, the Justice Department has asked for more time to respond to a lawsuit challenging the federal ban on cannabis patients purchasing and possessing firearms. I do want to mention on a side note that there is a state representative in Minnesota who has a medical card that got all hemmed up because he's a stupid officer and he needs a weapon to protect his stupid town from stupidity. So I would hope this got squared away. And as far as I know, he's the only House of Representative who has applied for a medical card. I'm sure there's others. And I reported this last year or so. So anyway, on June 23rd, 2022, Supreme Court issued its decision in New York State rifle and petition. Two-step framework, I don't know what it means, and I don't know what that has to do with the guns and medical cannabis patients. But again, I don't know who to tell that it's not the same thing. It's cannabis. Saying you're all high on cannabis, just if you've used it and you utilize cannabis for whatever reasons, like positive reasons, for somebody who's been up for several days using a substance that wouldn't allow me to sleep high, or taking I thought there was only 2 hits of acid, I ended up taking 4, that's high. That is stinking high. 4 hits of acid, brother? You in another dimension, playa. You don't even know how to get back. So, give a guy on acid a gun? That'd be a horrible idea. Somebody utilizing cannabis for whatever purpose they need does not make them a risk with their weapon. It just doesn't. Now, if you've given an idiot a pistol and he does something stupid, well, it isn't the cannabis. He's an idiot. You gave an idiot a gun. You should be screening for idiocy. Make it tricky to get into the gun store. Put a push when it should be a pull and see how long it takes to figure it out. Don't put any prices on the pistols and see if he, is smart enough to ask how much a gun is before he buys it. Come up with some idiot defense. At any rate, let's talk about this. New defense bill would force U.S. military to research cannabis and revise penalties. Now, this is pretty awesome because the House Armed Service Committee just added 2 amendments to annual defense budget bill that would force U.S. military to rethink some of its antiquated cannabis prohibition policies. Basically, what they're going to do is they're going to conduct a research study. They're going to explore cannabis as an alternative. They're going to give some people cannabis, right? The research would focus on off-duty soldiers suffering from PTSD, TBI, or chronic pain who are taking the nasties, the opioids. To conduct a study, researchers would allow some of these patients to use medical cannabis while others would stick with traditional painkillers. And that is great news, guys. It really is, because we all know that there's going to be some positive results from that. Over the course of the study, researchers would monitor the health of all participants and assess the effectiveness of the treatment. The amendment would also require military officials to create an education campaign focusing on the use of medical cannabis as an alternative. So, the committee also approved another amendment that would require the DoD to reconsider the harsh penalties that it imposes on service members who use cannabis. Under current regulations, soldiers who are caught possessing or smoking it while on active duty can be locked behind bars for up to 5 years. These are the people that are creating safety for us and our children, for crying out loud. And that's what's always burnt my hind end down to the hole. I probably could have used better word placement there, but we trust them to keep us safe. But we can't allow them to make a decision that maybe doesn't agree with what we think. Maybe we think it's wrong. But this guy who just, struggled, he selflessly left his family without the promise of returning. So you could hang out in your lawn chair and drink your black velvet till you puke on yourself. And we'll decide for that officer or that soldier is just ridiculous. And it should never have ever have been allowed to happen. So, in contrast, a soldier who is blackout drunk on the job can only be sentenced to a maximum of 9 months of confinement. So, that's just crazy. So we need to get that changed. And it looks like they're attempting to do so. So I'm happy about that. So, Delta-8 THC retailer sues Kansas over product seizures. Kansas is suing state officials for telling law enforcement that hemp-derived intoxicants are illegal drugs. Murray, owner of Terpene Distribution, contends in his suit that a Kansas Attorney General was wrong when he issued an opinion saying that Delta-8 is illegal even if they are derived from hemp. After that memo, his Topeka store was raided. 120 G's worth of Delta-8 was seized. He points out that states under federal law are not authorized to alter the definition of hemp, meaning that products made from legal hemp extracts are also legal. Well, everybody knows that. He also points out that Kansas law allowing hemp production stipulates that regulation shall be conducted in the least restrictive manner. So, Deans is asking the court to declare that the Kansas Controlled Substance Act is preempted by federal hemp law. State officials have yet to reply to the lawsuit, and, there you have it. So Delta-8, and again, here let's talk about high times. Brittany Griner, if you've heard me and you listen to this show, you know Brittany Griner got hemmed up. She's a WNBA star for the Phoenix Suns, and then on the off season, she'd get kicked down millions of dollars to go over to Russia and play there. However, she must have gotten comfortable, or something must have happened where she had begun to bring cannabis vape pens with her. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but she got busted. And anyway, Brittany Griner's trial on cannabis possession charges will begin in Russia on Friday, finally. She spent more than 4 months, people, in a Russian prison. And then she's going to go on trial for cannabis possession. Griner, if you don't remember, was arrested at an airport in Moscow. In February, they found vape pens in her luggage. Since then, her detention has been extended several times, and they wouldn't even allow her phone calls. It was crazy. So on Monday, Griner appeared at a court in the Moscow suburb of Khimki for a prelim, appearing apprehensive as she was escorted into the courtroom in handcuffs. She looks pretty... her dreads still look pretty good. I'm looking at a picture here. She doesn't look horrible. But what do I know? Okay. She was escorted into the courtroom in handcuffs. The detention was extended for another 6 months, pending the outcome of her prosecution. Alexander, who confirmed the Friday start of her trial, they shared an NPR reporter showing Griner entering and leaving the courtroom. It was good to see her in some of those images, but it's tough. Every time's a reminder that their teammate, their friend, is wrongfully imprisoned in another country. But I don't know if she is wrongfully imprisoned. You know, I mean, you went to stupid Russia with stupid vape pens. You're kind of an idiot. Right? I mean, what are you doing flying into Moscow? Okay? With contraband. I mean, come on. At least we get to see an image of her, they said. Hopefully with this trial happening quickly, President Biden will take the steps to ensure she comes home. Congressman said Brittany Griner is a political prisoner. I don't know what that really means, but what a tangled web we weave. Montana lawsuit challenges cannabis ban in state's third largest city. Now, I don't know if that one's closer to North Dakota, Great Falls, but the city's ban violates state law and goes against the clear will of the people. So Great Falls filed a lawsuit in district court challenging the ban. The suit argues that according to House Bill 701, which addresses cannabis in Montana, counties and cities can put further rules and regulations on cannabis. However, Great Falls' outright ban of sales within city limits is in violation of state law because cities and counties can only ban sales through a local referendum vote, which did not happen in Great Falls. So state allows dispensaries to operate legally in Great Falls unless the citizens of Great Falls say otherwise. And so they didn't. So Janelle and Dale, my new heroes, they have operated Green Creek Dispenso outside the city limits. They were licensed by the Cannabis Control soon after the passage of REC, but they can't get into town. They filed a safety inspection certification to allow them to operate in a location within city limits. The city manager denied it and said federal law on cannabis sales has not changed, and a city ordinance passed in 2010 prohibited the sale. So I will follow that for you all and let you know. Now, this is from Normal, and I'm not going to get into all the legalese because it's boring. But I just wanted to tell you this, especially if you're a mother and you've ever been pregnant and you utilize cannabis for whatever reasons, morning sickness, hunger, nausea, whatever, stress. Now, the mother of my child utilized cannabis. I suggested it. I encouraged it. I mean, and my daughter is a very smart person, professional teacher. I mean, we could argue, if her mom hadn't used cannabis, maybe she'd be the, a president instead of a teacher of young, impressionable minds. I say, contraire. She's living up to her expectations as a beautiful human, doing the beautiful Lord's work. And I don't see her being affected by cannabis in utero one bit. Now, I had a friend who was in the hospital, giving birth, and they did like this interview with the mother, social worker, whatever, and she, I don't know, was vibing with them and thought, well, they'd be cool. And she goes, yeah, I utilize cannabis for de-stressing or whatever, morning sickness, and they yanked the baby. They immediately removed the baby from the hospital room. She had to get a lawyer. It was a big old mess. They then marked her as a drug user on the application, or on their, on the forms of the hospital. It was a big old mess. Now, that was like 20 years ago or whatever. But still, normal. Between 4 and 5% of pregnant women report some level of cannabis use. They basically have not found any particular reason to stop. So shout out to you cannabis-consuming mothers. We love you. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm going to scream through here. Maryland court. Cops can stop, question someone who smells like cannabis. Now, the court said possession of less than 10 grams is not a crime in Maryland. And now cops say the drug's aroma provides police with reasonable suspicion that the person may have 10 or more, thus permitting the officers to conduct a brief investigatory stop. The ruling does not give law enforcement carte blanche in those circumstances. They must end the stop if they do not quickly obtain information that gives them probable cause to believe the person has at least 10 grams or has committed another criminal offense. Last year, they took up the case and ruled that the smell of cannabis does not justify a cop to conduct a search, citing the Decrim of possessing 10 grams or less. Because it's no longer a crime, the suspicion required to support a stop for the crime is that the person is in possession of more. So now they want to say that if it really stinks, then they've got to really have more than 4. I say that's a bunch of junk. Now let me rip through this. This is High Times Magazine as well. New Washington, D.C. policy lets adults self-certify for medical cannabis. They eliminate the requirement that patients receive a doctor's recommendation to apply. So that's awesome. You can Google that and read it yourself. Now check out Thailand. Thailand's legalization of cannabis sparks health concerns. There's all kinds of funny, weird rules. You can't be outside. It's only medical, but you can. Okay, so anyone can now grow the plant at home after registering with the government via a mobile app. Right? So Google that. Thailand has been pretty interesting. Again, new approach, North Dakota. They're petitioning now. We've got all the signatures, so look forward to the campaign to get everybody on board so they'll vote yes in November. Music on 95.9 FM, KRFF, LP, Radio Free Fargo has been underwritten by Orange Records. Orange Records offers a variety of new and used music on vinyl and CD, as well as a large selection of posters, DVDs, and much more. Orange Records buys used vinyl, CDs, and cassettes and incense. I'm kidding. He sells it, doesn't buy it. It'd be cool if he bought incense. I'm making some now. Just kidding. Orange Records is located at 641 First Avenue North in downtown Fargo. They're open noon to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday and are closed on the Lord's Day. That's Sunday for you heathens. Search Orange Records Fargo on Facebook for updates on new arrivals and special events. Well, thanks for checking me out. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. 4:20 I get in here and I blow out about 30 minutes of talking stuff. Today wasn't as spicy as it could be. It was just kind of a low week, but I'm still going to come in here, still going to give you the content. Now, I got brand new music by Dirty Heads. Here's Life's Been Good on 95.9 KRFF. Well, yeehaw, Life's Been Good. Cover by Dirty Heads. That's brand new here on Radio Free Fargo, KRFF 95.9. Welcome to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm out the door, but on the way in is Stinky Arts Music Mart, and boy, is he extra stinky today, so stay tuned. We also have a couple holes after that, 7 until whenever, and then it's Black Ring Ritual on Thursdays. So educate yourself on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, blackcottagealchemy.com. The body butter is what I highly suggest. The colloidal silver is pretty good too. Tochi Products downtown also has that for you. Come on downtown and do that. And then Orange Records has the New Approach North Dakota Cannabis Ballot Initiative Circulation Petition. We do have the signatures needed, but we always need extra because we got all we need before the deadline, so it's just a buffer now. So that's awesome. Again, 1 ounce, you're going to be able to have 3 plants you're going to be able to grow, which is fantastic. I'm going to jump out of here so Stinky Art can get in here and start to do his pre-stink, whatever that means. I'm just making stuff up. But again, I'll be back here next Thursday, 4 o'clock, to talk about cannabis and cannabis legalization and the benefits of said cannabis. Again, I'm out the door. You guys be good to yourself. If you're living in Fargo, Moorhead, get outside and enjoy the day. And I'll be back next Thursday. Until then, here's David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.